Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest news in the game industry. And I hope you had a great weekend or week off if you had the holiday off as well, but with that said, something interesting came out during the weekend that seems to have caused some kind of controversy, as many fans are speculating that the Xbox Scarlett is behind the PlayStation 5 due to available dev kits to developers. So we're going to discuss that and whether there really should be any concern or not. Also, Black Friday has come and gone, and we're going to discuss some of the winners there as well. And you know how the Nintendo Switch has been a big success this generation? Well, several analysts are predicting record-breaking numbers for the Nintendo Switch, so stay tuned for that as well. But first, let's discuss this dev kit controversy, if you can even really call it that. But over the last year, we've been hearing a lot about next-generation consoles, or more specifically the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlett. And while we have been hearing a lot about the PlayStation 5 both from Sony themselves and through leaks, we can even see images of the actual dev kits for the PlayStation 5, and this includes the DualShock 5 controller. Though Sony also hasn't really given any concrete information either. We just kind of know they're looking to have an ultra-fast solid-state hard drive, so we will have as little load time as we possibly can for the PlayStation 5. Regardless though, this has brought forth the question, why haven't we been hearing more about the Xbox? Microsoft themselves haven't really been talking that much about it, and there hasn't been many leaks. So Tom Warren posted this through Twitter. Hardly anyone has them, and they're nowhere near final. That's why you're hearing a lot of nonsense about them not being powerful, etc. Microsoft wants to surprise Sony this time. And this one little statement kind of blew up and had the game community wildly speculating on Xbox falling behind in hardware development. And some people even started to call out Tom Warren as if he was completely making this up. And before I go any further, I don't believe Tom Warren is making things up at all. The game community can tend to have an issue with creating their own narrative when it comes to console wars, and we all know this happens. And this is likely to get worse as we get closer to the release of the next Xbox and PlayStation 5. But Tom Warren is well known for what he does, and he reports on all things Microsoft, not just Xbox. He has a very good track record, he is a good journalist, and I don't think that he would come out and just make something up. Now, he was pretty adamant after this comment about his frustrations towards the reaction of his comment, and he did double down and reiterated that there is another 12 months before release, and that things will continue to change for both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlett. And that is something that insider Daniel Ahmad also echoed, and that the final dev kits for both the PlayStation 5 and Scarlett won't be available until about E3. Though that is something to keep in mind here, and that even the PlayStation 5 dev kits that you're seeing in the pictures, they're not finalized, and it's an early version. There will be a lot of changes between now and when they release. There will be a lot of optimization and small little changes here and there, which is something I think Tom Warren was saying in his comments. There is still another full year before these consoles release. Now, as for Tom Warren's original comment, the way he worded it makes it sound like Xbox is keeping things close to the vest because they want a power advantage next generation, kind of like what Sony did with the PlayStation 4. Now, there was actually a lot of different reports on the PlayStation 4 before it officially got revealed, and then when it finally did, the big surprise was, of course, the DDR4 RAM, which changed the entire generation. Now, it remains to be seen if Xbox can actually pull out that kind of surprise, but it does seem they're going to try at the very least, and they're not going to be held back by Kinect this time either. With all that said though, I've said this several times, but I do believe both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlett will be almost identical in terms of specs, and any differences will likely be negligible. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't think Tom Warren really said anything that should have caused this big of an outcry. I really don't. A lot of what he said isn't wrong, and even if it's just his opinion about Xbox keeping it close to the vest, I don't really see a reason to get this upset. Anyways though, what do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments below. In other news, Black Friday had some good sales last week and we got some really good numbers all around. The big winner here though is Sea of Thieves, which showed up in the top 5 in the UK charts. Now, this is a game that released in 2018, so that may surprise a few people, which we'll get into in just a moment. But the top 5 included FIFA 20, Call of Duty, Star Wars, Sea of Thieves, and Minecraft. Now, to a lot of people, Sea of Thieves may surprise you being on this list, but keep in mind that this is due to bundles. This means that Xbox bundled Sea of Thieves with the Xbox console, so with every console sold came with a copy of Sea of Thieves. So it appears Xbox had a really good Black Friday, and we actually talked a little bit about this last week, as the Xbox All Digital Edition was $150, and some people were even reporting it as low as $100, which is an absolute steal. Sea of Thieves is a good game too, so I hope new Xbox owners out there really enjoy this one. Actually, all of the console makers did a good job in the UK. PlayStation sold a total of 500,000 games, and Xbox sold 413,000, and the Nintendo Switch sold 361,000, so really good job for the big three here. I, however, have unfortunately been hearing that Shenmue 3 has not been selling well so far, which I really hate to hear. I'm not a big fan of Shenmue myself, but I was very happy to hear Shenmue return because people have been waiting for it for so long. The problem now is, I worry that there won't be a Shenmue 4 because it's not doing very well. Hopefully that changes, or hopefully it doesn't keep them from making a 4th game, considering Shenmue 3 is still not the end of the story. And speaking of success, analysts are starting to predict that the Nintendo Switch will surpass the Nintendo Wii in terms of sales, which would be a really big deal considering that the Wii is the best-selling Nintendo home console of all time with over 100 million units sold. That's no easy feat to pass, though. One thing that the Wii really had going for it was it broke new ground by capturing the casual market. Though that market has kind of left and maybe have went more towards mobile games by this point. Nonetheless, the analysts had this to say: this is typically where sales begin to peak out, but it looks like the Switch may have a longer life cycle. With a desktop console and portable player in a single machine, Nintendo has a very effective platform for selling game software. And that last sentence is key, actually. See, the thing is, while I did mention that the Wii was the best-selling home console that Nintendo has ever made, well, the Game Boy and the Nintendo DS both outsold the Wii by a pretty comfortable margin as well. I believe the DS sold around 155 million units, while the Game Boy sold close to 120 million. So with the Nintendo Switch being a hybrid console, it really has that appeal that those handheld consoles have. I honestly could see the Switch outselling the Wii, I really could. The Switch is a fantastic console, and I think it's going to have much better legs than the Wii. Now the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll make this one real brief, but Untitled Goose game appears to be coming to the PlayStation 4. The reason I say this is because the Untitled Goose game trophies went up on Expo Phase early. There is no release date as of this moment, but we may hear more about this soon, hopefully sooner rather than later. If you don't know what Untitled Goose game is, well, you definitely need to check it out. It's a hilarious game where you play a goose and try to cause as much trouble as you can. And I know that may sound weird, but it's actually a fantastic game. It's been on the Switch for a while, and I think you PlayStation fans will really enjoy this one. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit that bell notification and subscribe button. Peace out.